Thank you for being here with us today. Today I have with me a very strong, capable woman, a trailblazer, a champion of women and girls' rights, a peace negotiator, a very esteemed public servant, the Honorable Dr. Linah Jebii Kilimo. Karibu.
Wow, asante sana. Thank you so much for those many accolades. And as you have put it right, I am Honorable Linah Jebii Kilimo. And those are added works that I have done to which I am grateful to God for enabling me to do that. But I don't see it myself, but you say you're my, thank you. It's like now you're my mirror.
Yes, by all means. I
Yeah.
think at the end of the day, your work speaks for you. You have been a public servant, you have been a parliamentarian, you have been a peace negotiator, and I think it's time the world knows who exactly is Honorable Dr. Linah Jebii Kilimo. Perhaps we can start with your childhood. How did this stalwart of a woman come to be?
Oh my goodness. How do I start that now? As you have put, for me to come and be a peace negotiator, or they refer to me as the mother of peace in Kerio Valley in the North Rift. I grew up in a village called Kartor village. I am number 6 out of 7 of my mother's children. Then my father had another family, and so when we line up, then I will be child number 10.
Wow.
Yes, because we have 2 others who will be behind us. My parents were not educated, but they loved education. And for me to come to the public domain was caused by the desire to see change in the community that I grew up in and got married in. I am born in the highlands of the Marakwet East constituency and married in the lowlands or the valley, the Kerio Valley. And sometime in 1995, I was still working for the Kenya Commercial Bank. There was so much insecurity. All the time you are just hearing people are dying, people have been killed in the name of cattle rustling. And where I got married, I really got a father-in-law who really embraced me. And I felt, oh, so I'm valued. I felt valued because where I grew up, I defied my parents to be circumcised.
Wow.
So it's like you feel now I'm a rebel because I've refused to obey the social norms of a girl getting circumcised. And at some point I ran away, so quite a lot I would disagree with my father, who kept on saying, you must follow, this is our culture and all that. My mother, on the other hand, was a bit soft, scared that if she's had on this only one girl, she had one girl, and I was one girl and the other 6 were boys. So I felt maybe people don't want, you know, the stigma you grow up with, you feel everybody stigmatizes you. But then I went and found my father-in-law was not stigmatizing me. He really loved me, and so I felt I needed to ensure they are living in peace. So from 1995, I really got worked up all the time. People are sick, people are dying. And then no one was talking about it in the media, that people are being killed. I'm grateful now, at least there's the social media, people know that there's something happening somewhere. Then the fact that by that time I had come to know the consequences of FGM. Although when I was running away and refusing to undergo the cut, all I knew is that after the circumcision, you get married. And I did not want to just end up in the village. I had a desire which was caused by a story told by my teacher. And by the way, story sells. So I hope this story will also sell.
Yes, by all means, by all means.
You know, than just reading a book. But my teacher, when class 4 comes and says, oh, there's a place called Nairobi. And in that Nairobi, he saw women driving big cars.
Wow.
And these women jail men. And surprisingly, they were uncircumcised. But they are Luos, they are uncircumcised. Now, that is derogatory. Because everybody knows that
Yes.
for you to be somebody, to have a name, to be respected, you have to be circumcised. But he was surprised that these ladies in Nairobi are driving big cars, are not circumcised. So it just clicked in my mind and said, okay. After he told us what cars are used for, carrying luggage from point A to point B, I mean making your life easy, I just said, oh, something inside me clicked and said, that is where what I want, to own a car, to help me as a girl child, as a woman, not knowing where I will live, but the chores that were assigned to us as ladies, I saw a vehicle as something that will assist me in those many chores of women, whether carrying salt lick, which was what frightened me most, is carrying salt lick from the valley up the hill for our cows.
Wow.
And that is something you have to do. So I said, if there's something called a car, and you can only get that car when you get educated and not get circumcised. I mean, circumcision qualified a car, and circumcision qualified a car. So I said, then I will not be circumcised, so I get a car, so that I get educated. So would I say now the fact that I defied the cultural norms of circumcision could have brought me up to where now I desire to speak about it and go to Parliament? So when I sought out to go, I said I have two agendas. The other agenda, which has been stigmatizing me, where you feel the community perceive you not as complete because you're not cut, and the insecurity. And along the way, my father's-in-law home was raided, and the person who was looking after his animals was also killed. And then my father-in-law got a stroke because he could not believe it, and subsequently he died. And the bitter tears, hot tears, which I cried as we buried him, something inside me saying, I don't want anyone else to go through this, that somebody has just died because of cattle rustling. Then I decided, now, if somebody else can't do it, maybe it's me who can do it, because I'm the only one who can see that people are being killed, and the fact of girls' destiny is just destroyed, because after being circumcised, most of them don't transit to the next class, and they get married. So it really made me feel I could do something. That's when I sought parliamentary seat. And I'm grateful that the people of Marakwet East constituency voted me during my second time. I tried the first time, 97, and so did not make it that time. So 2002, I tried again, and this time I won. I won in what was perceived to be opposition party. I stood on the Democratic Party of Kenya ticket, thanks to Ambassador Tabitha Sei and Zipporah Giton. Those were the Kalenjin leaders then, who helped me to focus on the party and direction of politics. I started with Zipporah, and Zipporah pointed to me and told me the challenges in the landscape of politics, and referred me to Ambassador Tabitha Sei, who then held my hand because her other sister had referred me to her. And so I'm grateful that these two Kalenjin leaders helped me in forming the political choices that I stood, and even just what to pick as an agenda. So, and I got trained by Honorable Tabitha Sei through her organization, and Democratic Party of Kenya had also trainers who would come and train you on how to be keen on what people, the messaging, and how do you translate the messaging of the people into programs when you win the election. So that straight away when I won, from the training I had gotten, I knew now whatever people say in a baraza, I must write it down. And then now you come and look at how that proposal from the people fits into government programs and policies. Then now you go back and implement. And you will have answered what is in their mind. And so one of them was peace. I'm grateful for the support that I got from then the office of the president when it came to peace matters. The principal secretaries who were present at that time worked as a team. We were all focused on peace. And that one was in the manifesto of the Democratic Party of Kenya, which then later on merged to become NAC.
Kenya.
Yeah, I remember the president had said, when you hear things of Marakwet East and the Pokot, the North Rift, you think you're in another planet.
Yeah.
So I was able now to come and pick what people say, implement into government policies, and for 10 years, we had peace. And there was no cattle rustling to something that I remember right now, and just pray that, may God remember the people of the North Rift and give them peace. I pray that the current government will also be able to solve the issues of insecurity, because we have tested what it means to have peace for 10 years when I was their MP. And then there is Resolution 1325, that talks about women in peace negotiation. I said, but this is what I have been doing as a woman.
Yes.
So although it wasn't like an agenda solely for the State Department of Gender, because it works in collaboration with the Office of the President.
Yes.
That is something I went and I said, no, I'm picking this one up. Picked it up and got meetings with women from the region I come from, the North Rift, the volatile North Rift. This is Turkana are our neighbors, Pokot, East Pokot, West Pokot, and Marakwet and Baringo. And so we formed something called Potuma Network, Potuma Women Network for Peace, Pokot, Turkana, and Marakwet Women Peace Network for Peace. And so I went for to just sharpen my skills at CIPSTC headquarters, training on women peace here in Embakasi. It's an army camp where you're trained. I went to train there. Then I got our women together and told them about this Resolution 1325. We got support at some point from the ambassador of Australia.
Wow.
Yeah, he had to support us, meet together and talk about all this. And so this is something that I found, and I said I am running with it. So this far, you have now known who Jebii Kilimo is. Yeah, I've answered the question that I am a peace negotiator. And the negotiation of the peace was more of implementing what the people saw as peace themselves, supporting them in what they believe that this is the answer. Because they're the wearers of the shoe. They know where it pinches most. So, and one of those was they had something I found. Because I'm married in the highlands. I'm born in the highlands where there is no insecurity.
Wow.
And I'm married in the valley. So I would now sit with the old men and ask, how do we do? How are you doing this? So they told me there was something called Kolowo Declaration. And so using government support from the national government, facilities, I supported them to implement Kolowo Declaration.
Wow.
That is what they saw as peace in their eyes, in their perception. Sometimes some of the laws that we have may not really, they don't understand. For example, if we say the law says that a culprit, you look for them and take them to court, jail them. then there's no witness. So what will you do? But in their eyes,
automatically the case will actually fall through.
yeah, and that is something also we are still challenge. It's still a challenge on my other agenda, because I had two agendas of peace between the warring communities and an end to female genital mutilation. Yeah, you want to prosecute somebody, there'll be no witness, even if they saw. And even when it comes to cattle rustling, there's something they say, mimi sijaona, sijasikia, hata sijui.
So it becomes a community effort to basically suppress the crime.
Yes, the crime. Yeah. But now in their eyes, they will see, like they will tell you in that Color Declaration that you kill somebody, you pay. But then it doesn't mean that person is spared. Go and pick that person, take them to wherever it is, jail, but compensate the family, who the people whose person has been killed or something like that. So those are some of the things that we used for peace in the North Rift. And now the other agenda, which I said was an end to female genital mutilation. I may not have seen it as an end. I wanted to stop the stigmatization, of girls and women who have not been cut, and also inform people that it is not abnormal not to be cut. You are complete the way you are, because in the belief you are complete and you're a grown-up, you're respected when you undergo the cut. But having gotten education and seen other communities, people are complete the way they are without their cut. Then you look on the flip side of after their cut, the consequences, transition rates of girls to school, child marriages, teenage pregnancies, you see. And the poverty circle like rotates around there and all that. Illiteracy rates of women always go up. And later on also, I got to know of the consequences during childbirth. Not for all, but still some have difficult childbirths. So I had wanted a conversation that, let's talk about it. Because the myths that they tell you, if you are not cut, are not true. They tell you, when you are not cut, the spirits of the ancestors will follow you. So I mean, and because if you believe, you'll still hear things ringing in your mind.
It's actually more like the power of suggestion.
Yes. So I thought, no, this is not true. People have to be told the truth. And so the more I searched about FGM, even before going to Parliament, I knew we were being cheated somewhere. And I said, this will be my second agenda after with peace. So I had only two agendas: to go into position of leadership or a platform where I can talk about it. I was tired of being lonely, of when you pass, it's like people say,
it's her.
It's
her who didn't go through FGM.
You know? Or you pass and some old women sometimes will just say, it's like, because they've been told when a person who is not cut smells. So, and it's not true. So I thought, no, this is something that we must talk about. So landing on Parliament, one of the things I say is we must talk about this thing called FGM. By that time, I had gone through CEDAW, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. I had looked at the human rights, the protocols of the human rights, 1948. That's when they said FGM should be stopped. It's not good. It's a violation of human rights. I had looked at all this and just also maendeleo ya wanawake had also done. I saw that 1982, I was still in school. The late President Moi had told the Kalenjin community, stop it. And some had stopped. The Nandis, the Tugans had stopped. But when you come to Marakwet, we're still doing it. So I said, no, then people maybe don't know this information. And laws are made against something which is not good for us. And I said, now let's see how we are implementing the law. We had the Children's Act. When I reached Parliament, I found the Children's Act. But still, wasn't punitive as such. And so that's when I started lobbying to get the anti-female genital mutilation prohibition of FGM Act, which took us almost 10 years. Yeah, I think maybe 8 years to have it passed, because as soon as I landed in Parliament 2003, that was something I started in Parliament. I wanted it to be a conversation without feeling shy, without feeling embarrassed, because it was talking about the private parts of people is a topic that is untalkable. But I wanted us to talk about it in the open. I didn't want it to be just where those of us from those communities felt, this is NGO people who want to just make money. They want to just ask us to stop our culture, or people just say, people just go there to get their sitting allowance and go. Yet, in reality, they meant to help us. So I thought, well, unless the government is telling these people stop, people will still perceive it to be a non-governmental organization, employing their people to just come and talk against our culture. And so that is how I started on that. And it was not easy getting the first conference so that government also get involved in this campaign against FGM. And at a function, at a forum I went in Cairo, I met a senator from the EU Parliament called Emma Bonino. She was an Italian. And I shared with her my mission, why I'm in politics. And she said, well, but we can support you to have that conference. And so she mobilized resources from the EU. And of course, being in government that time, I was able also to share with my colleagues in the cabinet of my desire to have a law or a conversation, a public conversation about FGM and its consequences. And it's our honors as a government to protect girls and women from these communities against harm from their own culture. Somebody is, they don't think they're harming themselves, but it is us to be their mirror and point out to them that which we see is on their face.
Very true.
And so I'm grateful that in 2011, the law prohibition of FGM Act was passed. And I felt like shackles fell from my shoulders. The shackles of feeling guilty that I disobeyed.
Your parents,
yes, the shackles of feeling that, yes, the myths, I felt the myths that hung around you like a giant, have been removed. Wow. And to me, I saw that as freedom. And the walk to freedom for girls from these FGM practicing communities is a journey.
Yes.
It is a process. And for them to gain their flight, I always say you need 2 wings of a bird to fly. And for that case, for a girl child from FGM practicing communities, they will need the law as one wing, and they will need education as the other wing, so that they can fly to their desired destiny. So far, reaching where we are, I hope you still remember that story sells. And so when my teacher sold a story about these women driving big cars, I got a desire. So you can share a story with somebody and they start building castles in the air. And I no longer think that building castles in the air is something bad. No, it's something in your imagination. And so once you internalize and it becomes part of you, every act, every activity that you do, you are walking towards that particular goal,
yes,
which is in your mind. Yeah, because then it was built in my mind that there is this thing called a vehicle which I will drive. There is education which I will attain when I'm not cut. There's this place called Nairobi where women drive big cars. And I hope you have seen that my car is not small.
Yes, I have. I've seen actually the actualization of that particular dream.
Yeah. So, as to now the fact that the world, and we have put it that, the accolades Mheshimiwa Linah Kilimo, we've done all this and all that. It's because I owe it to my living, yeah, that my being alive is a debt that I need to pay, yeah, for my existence. I must serve, because if God has enabled me, and I really feel attached to my community, I feel, God, you plucked me, you unpicked me, brought me here to be with people, then I must remember that one day I'll give an account of how I've spent my life. And so for that to come, I feel that every day I must give an account of what I have done. One other lady I'm grateful to is Martha Karua. I landed in Parliament like this, and you can see that she's tough.
Yes, she is. No nonsense and
no
very
nonsense.
tough.
She looked at me in the eye and said, Linah, you must serve your community every day as though it's the last time you're serving them. Yeah. One day at a time, do the best for the people who elected you. And so, without knowing, 5 years had passed. I got re-elected again.
Wow.
Still in an opposition. So I went to terms. So those are, at least these are 3 ladies who shaped my political achievements. Career. Yeah. For me to leave footprints in politics, as you have rightly put it, it's because they told me, and I actually said yes. It's like, Martha Karua is saying I'm not doing the right thing or something, or am I letting down Tabitha Sei, or am I now embarrassing Zipporah Kitony, who told me, Linah, the political landscape is not smooth, yeah, but go over there and you'll get Tabitha to hold your hand. So this is what, these are the 3 ladies I say really helped me in my political journey. It's like I feel I'm accountable to them. I must do the right thing. And of course, God who enabled me to be elected in that kind of terrain.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly.
it wasn't easy. And I must say, it's not easy. Oh, no. Most of the time, you have to have a board meeting with yourself. Yeah.
I like that, board meeting with yourself.
Yes.
Yes, call yourself to the table.
Yes. Yeah. And planning what you want to do, because everyone will give you advice. But at the end of the day, you must stand with the decision that you will know you are accountable to that decision. Because if you just follow what others are telling you without internalizing and making it part of you, when you reach a corner, you won't remember which direction was I to go. No, but if it comes from you, no matter the consequences, you will live with them. Yeah. And somehow you'll still chart another way of working it out.
Very true. And you know, you were elected, like you said, as a member of parliament from a terrain traditionally that did not think women could aspire to leadership.
Let alone uncircumcised women.
Yes, uncircumcised women.
Yeah, it
yes.
wasn't easy.
You've run for office 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
2 of them you were elected to parliament.
Yes, yes.
And during basically the conversation, you've mentioned how instrumental people like your father-in-law were. And I'm pretty sure also your partner in the journey of life.
Yes, yeah.
Then you are a mother, you are a wife, you are somebody's daughter-in-law.
Yeah.
How did these men, you know, give you the courage to go on, you know, despite the odds of where basically you are running, which was Marakwet East?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, my greatest cheerleader, of course, is my husband, who, Engineer Kilimo, who, though quiet, silently, he supported me. And my family. It had to be a conversation in the family.
Wow.
And I really told them that, you know, my conscience was just, I wasn't feeling that I should continue sitting when people are dying. Yeah, I must say the issue of insecurity really drove me crazy, because you hear all the time people, and I just said, no, somebody has to talk about this thing. We can't keep quiet. And then you also say, yes, we must also talk about this FGM and other people, so that I am not alone. I needed company. I wanted company of others who are not circumcised like me, and we chart a direction to where other communities have reached. So it wasn't easy for my family, especially my husband, because he was discouraged against it. that how can you allow your wife and the children who are still young, how can you go to allow them to go to politics? But I believe, I am a believer in God, that he will not give you a desire, a burning desire like what I had in 1995, 96, 97, that I just want to be there. I never knew about any salary or nothing. I just wanted to be a voice of the challenges that people were facing in the valley. So they really supported me. And also later on, when I had a salon in Eldoret, I'm grateful to the women who frequented the Leketia salon in Eldoret, because when I tried 97, and of course I had resigned in the bank, I opened a salon, and women would come, and some will not take change. They will say, this one is for you, Mheshimiwa, to go for campaign. And so I must say, providence followed me when I decided that this is what I want to do, and the mission for which I wanted to achieve my vision. Others came in to support me, and it wasn't easy. Of course, by that time, campaign was not as expensive as it is now. No, you would give people 20 shillings as a group and they'll take tea, and that was enough. Not so now.
I think, you know, there's so many hurdles when it comes to running for a parliamentary seat, both for men and women. But what specific challenges, you know, came up when you were running for parliamentary seat, and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, those challenges, there are many. One of them, as I told you, patriarchal society, a woman vying, and I had mentioned that more so if you are uncircumcised. It's like your whole life is laid open to critique. Everything about you, even just the way a woman behaves, for example, the fact that you go home earlier than men, and the men will still say, so who will be serving you? For example, if they have to go home when she goes to look after the children. I was still young then, they would say, and when she goes to maternity, who is going to be your member of parliament? You know, they speak against the chores of a woman. And I picked each of those and made them my stepping stone and used them to campaign. Instead of shying away, I used them to campaign. For example, they say that I would, if I got a baby and I was in maternity, or how will I serve them while I have a small baby? And I turned that round and said, that small baby is the constituency. And so when I'm in parliament, the breast milk will just press me until I run home quickly to breastfeed. That means running to breastfeed is bringing them, nurturing them from whatever I get from in the political place. That is one of their things. Another one was about that I wasn't in a position to fight, because that is an insecure zone. Fighting, how will a woman fight with the neighbors who, who are always killing us and are cattle rustling? And I told them, yes, I don't have the strength to fight. But one thing that I will know is, a man will not just want to fight a woman for no reason. But I will scream. Like in the villages, when a woman screams, people will run and say, who is that who wants to kill the mother to the children? And I remember saying that if somebody touches me, I will scream until the whole world says, there's a mother in Keria Valley being killed, who is killing her? And the whole world, led by our government, will come and see, who is this who wants to kill the mother of the children? So I answered when they said, I'm not able to fight, and I said, I'm not able to fight. So one of the other things they also talked about is that, a woman men, they don't come home quickly. They would stay, it's a clubby. Politics is a
a kind of
clubby
a club
affair, society. It's a clubby society.
Mm-hmm.
People are in clubs and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was also one of the things that they raised. And I told them, it is true. And for the last 40 years, because I came in after 40 years of representation by men, I gave them this example that yes, for 40 years, the men have been going, and the culture says they should not come home early when the sun is still shining. So they would come, if I use this book, that they had gone to look after animals, or they go and look, because we are pastoralists. So looking after them, while looking after the animals, the goat gives birth. And in that case, they have come to Parliament, and they've got something to bring for us. So they come with this kid, they carry it. But when they reach near the compound, they look, oh, it's still early. Oh, the culture says we don't go home early. So what happens? They will put the kid down, and then they will play, those
the ones with the stones.
Stones, they would either play that or just do something and talk, because they are waiting for evening to reach.
For the sun to go down,
then
they can come home.
So they get so obsessed with this game they are playing, and we've got wolves around.
Wow.
They are there. So
in Marakwet.
Yeah, I mean everywhere. Don't we have wolves?
Wow.
Yeah. So in the process, a wolf just comes, takes that kid too. And evening comes, oh, where is the kid? I left it here. Oh my God. That is how we've lost into development, because they don't come home early.
Wow.
But a mother, a woman, you have gone looking after the animals. Mbuzi imeza, you come carrying it here. On your back is firewood. The children are waiting for me to go and make supper for them.
Yes.
So I will come without stopping anywhere, and I'm supposed to reach home early. So I go and prepare supper. So I will come with this, and the first place I will land will be in the compound. Nitoe kuni. I put the kid down, then I prepare supper. They stopped talking about it anymore, because I put them to the game. Yeah.
That was really beautiful. And what I've basically learned from that, you said, face the challenge head on. Do not escape it. You cannot apologize for being a woman.
I can't.
But you bring, qualities to the table that perhaps the men do not have.
Yeah. And I've not condemned the man either. Yeah. It is just natural. It's my nature. That is what a woman is made for. Yeah. And the other one is, that's my brother. That's okay. But now, the community have assigned roles for each one of us. So if he has done these roles for 40 years, and you have seen, why don't we try the role of a woman now?
And we see how it's going to be.
And I tell you, I won with a landslide.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can see that. I can see that. So wisdom.
And up to now, they still wish they had a woman leadership, but times have changed.
Times have changed. So it was a combination of wisdom and hard work.
Yeah.
Also, at the same time, during your stint as a member of Parliament, you really helped in terms of development.
Yeah.
Right now, the Marakwet that is there is not the Marakwet that was there before 1997.
Yeah.
So what in terms of negotiation skills, what skills did you use to tell people, we are here, we are present, we're not going anywhere, and we demand development for our place. You're a very effective parliamentarian, despite the causes that you advance, such as
anti-FGM,
anti-FGM and also peace negotiation. You ensure that Marakwet became very developed.
I'm sure when history will be written in Kenya, there'll be one constituency that will be known to have had a hanging tarmac.
Wow.
Hanging tarmac, where you go rough road and you get tarmac. When you enter the tarmac, then you have finished like a constituency. And that is Marakwet East constituency. I don't know whether I would say I had any negotiation skills. I want you to go back to what I said. I was trained by then.
The DP
is it Professor Wanjohi was our trainer. Mr. Shutha and the late Alex Mureithi. Those were the people training the DP candidates. and it's like they believed we were going to win, and so they trained us on how to become an effective leader without being their boss. You have to be a servant, and I'm sure we all know that if there was a servant president was Kibaki.
Yes.
So to become a servant leader is to listen to what the people are saying. Then it's like you come and now infuse it into government policies and take back to them to answer to that vacuum which was in their minds. And one of the vacuums in the minds of the people of Marakwet East was the issue of tarmac. You'll find that people would come up to Marakwet West, Chebara Dam, just to see what is this tarmac. And going to hospital was also a problem. There was the road network was not good at all. And we didn't have even ambulances and all that. So now you know that their challenge is tarmac or access to hospital. The hospital we had is Kapsawat Mission Hospital that time. Now, and they would say with insecurity, they are not able to reach hospital. So then you come back to government and now see how are people having roads made in their constituencies. You will find that I wasn't raising such an issue in Parliament. No, I would go to the ministries because I'm their servant. And by the way, this is something that in my campaign, I challenged them that I felt it for 40 years they were sending the men. And if we take our constituency as a home, why are we always sending the father? Go and bring water to drink. Go and bring me this. Don't you think it's time we tell the mother? And I would say this in the valley where I am married. Don't you think it's time to tell the mother and say, oh, the children, and the father gives the orders that I need this and all that. You know? So coming then to the need for them to access hospital, I'd go to the ministries and just say, yes, we have this challenge. What might be in your budget today? How I negotiated is to go to those ministries of what the people needed and look at their plan. How are they allocating their resources? And then I would say this, please, this is what we have. And they will go and visit and say, yeah, there's this request. We didn't have a house for the DC. So you go to Ministry of Works. You go to the Ministry of Roads. And so they'll say, oh, Mheshimiwa so-and-so came and I think what is this and that. I would say that is, I wouldn't even call it negotiation. I would say as searching, or, you know, like a mother always, and I promise them that I'll serve them like a mother. She leaves the house knowing there's no sugar or salt. So you go and you get something, oh, I didn't have this in the home. You see something, you say, oh, but this is what I needed. So another time I saw in the newspaper that, oh, Barclays Bank were building schools where you top in a shilling for a shilling, you know. Then you go to Barclays. The next time I could see, oh, Safaricom were giving out ambulances. I went to Safaricom. Oh, we don't have ambulances in my place. Do you have network? I said we don't have. We were not covered by any network. But I let them see the need. I told them just go and see and imagine, is it about network or serving people? And so eventually I ended up getting an ambulance. So my negotiation was driven by the need of the people. When you go and they're complaining they don't have ABCD, then coming this way and saying what is available. For electricity, I saw that, oh, this government are doing something for the government of Kenya. So you say, which ministry? Ministry of Energy. Tomorrow I am there, so that I'm putting the agenda. And you can only achieve this, Beth, when you are of one vision. But you mix with business, you cannot burn. Culturally, we are told you cannot burn two sticks. One of them will get burnt. And so I'll say that I managed to achieve most of what I did that time because my focus was on serving the people,
yes.
answering to their needs when something is raised. And I always carried a notebook. When they're speaking, I write. When I come back, I say, they had said this, okay. So when I sit down with somebody like you, I'd say, okay, what do you have in your institution? Because I've seen there's a need. And then you tell me what you done. Say, okay, what about paying a visit to my place? Another time we had something with the French embassy. And so you ask, oh, you have CSR, what is there in the ambassador's kitty? And they'll say, we have something small. Say, oh, could you have a clinic that needs ABCD? They'll say, oh, go and bring a proposal. So you have to listen to the people's needs.
Wow.
Come with them. As you mingle, then you know, yeah, this one will answer to that. This one will answer to this. That is now if all the time your thoughts are, I need to achieve this, I need to do this for the people. Yeah, so, and I'm grateful for that space that they gave me. And my conscience doesn't condemn me because I did not take their time, the opportunity for personal, I did to serve them.
Yes, you didn't take it for personal gain, you did it as a servant leader.
Mm.
And you know, basically juggling your responsibility to your people.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you had a position as an assistant minister. How did that work? How did you manage to hold up two very powerful offices and deliver, you know, your mandate?
Thursdays was the day I would see my constituents.
Wow.
Yeah, so I would see them. And of course, we were given the opportunity to have personal assistants. So you have one for the constituency people and you have one for the office. So the constituents would come, the other one will do. And that is somebody, a personal assistant doesn't have to sleep before they brief you, everything. And you will send them somewhere to go and answer something. And I had arranged every ward, requests of every ward. And so it's like the personal assistant would know that today this person is from this ward, we went to that ward and this was their request. And so when we get the answer, it will be now, it is for this ward. I would say the support of personal assistants did a great job. And then of course the technical officers in the ministries who are also attached to you. You're a cabinet secretary, yes, a minister that time, and or you're an assistant minister, but you have technical people supporting you. And I always say, Kenya, I believe that we have very qualified civil servants. And if you work closely with them, listen to what they know, they brief you everything, it's not difficult because you will get everything is prepared for you. You just need to read and internalize so that you disseminate the same to wananchi, because basically there are those who will work the technocrats and yours is only to disseminate to the public. Yeah, because you've been given the platform. Not all of us can speak. You've given the opportunity to be that voice to speak on behalf of the ministry.
People.
Yeah, no, of the ministry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, you did not stop there. You started, you know, following the issue of ensuring that, you know, we are equal in the country and in the world, you know, gender equality. And your immediate former post was as the Chief Administrative Secretary.
Yes.
Just at the time, you know, that countries actually signed the SDGs.
Yes.
And in particular, you know, SDG number 5 to ensure gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. So here you are as the Chief Administrative Secretary, you know, at the State Department for Gender. When you got there, what was the first assignment on your desk?
Our assignment, I must say, was determined by the cabinet secretary. Yeah, Chief Administrative Secretary, you work as instructed by the cabinet secretary. In most cases, you go and represent them. However, they don't stop you from coming up with ideas of how best we can serve the people. By that time when I went, the retired President Uhuru Kenyatta had told the world in Canada that by 2022, there'll be no more FGM in Kenya. And so to me, with a passion, I wanted to ensure that, yes, it's implemented, because this was a baton I came with.
Yes.
I came with this baton. We ran with it with President Kibaki, the late Kibaki. Then now here, Uhuru has picked it up again. He's still running with it. And even right now, the current president is still running with it. And this is a button to ensure that the rights of women and girls are honored in this country, and harmful cultural practices or hurdles along their way are removed. And so gender-based violence, FGM, is something that I stood for, and also our country stands for. We had also a member, I think our country is a member of Generation Equality Forum Coalition Against Gender-Based Violence and all that. So this is all what was in that ministry. Another one which I had not implemented before or come across before was the issues of widows. And this is something that I found my cabinet secretary then, Professor Margaret Kobia, was also passionate about it, and she picked it from whoever was there before, PS Zainab Hussein, who was there, and also who had really picked up that issue of widows. And so that is something like I went and picked it and ensured that at every step we are following, and on behalf of the government, of course, and our cabinet secretary. I believe there is a lot that was done as far as gender-based violence is concerned, because in the State Department of Gender, there is a call center also where, 24/7 throughout the night, daytime, where people can call in. And the staff there give referrals to those who are undergoing gender-based violence, so that they can be helped and supported. There is close collaboration with the civil society organizations and NGOs to support. And I must say, it is a journey. And to that, it's not just women who are battered.
Yes.
We also have men. And so I wish it was a whole just ministry itself, because there is so much that need to be done on the software of our country. I feel that much resources are allocated to the hardware, to something you can see, to bridges, buildings, but to address the human part of our country, the ones I refer to as software, there's little funding to that, yet there is a lot. So that is what I found, was there was so much to be done, yet maybe not much resources are allocated,
yes.
and too much even to become just a State Department. Yeah. But of course, depending on how somebody plans their work, it can still be done, even as it is. Because now our constitution has tied our hands not to increase other ministries.
Yes.
But I wish it was just a ministry on itself.
So far, you actually implemented a lot of interesting ways in terms of, dealing with the issue of gender-based violence, especially because, you were the chief administrative secretary during the time of COVID, where most of the gains were really reversed. In your experience, and also, coming from the statistics that came across your desk, how are we doing right now as a country in terms of gender equality? Also bearing in mind that we have a 2/3 gender rule that until now we've not been able to fully operationalize. What is our outlook as a country, and what do we need to do to be able, to reach to a place where we have gender parity in Kenya?
Let's start with the COVID. COVID affected our population disproportionately. Women were more affected than the men. Not that they got COVID, no. The demands on service, supporting families, on the women, and sometimes women are not endowed with much resources.
Yes.
And when husbands lost jobs, whenever there is a crisis, it's always the women who rise up to the occasion. Because they are nurturers by nature. They will want life to continue as much as possible in the normal way,
Yes.
to fend for their families, feed their families, and sicknesses came, women always renegade their own health or their own needs or in place of those of their children or the other members of the family. So gender-based violence increased at that particular time because not many women got jobs, or like they're the first ones to lose their jobs, or the lower cadre jobs is still occupied by women. And so when people were told to work from home, it meant their employment came to an end. And they were battered, and men became violent. And when they don't have, maybe they don't have the shock absorbers or something, but more women suffered gender-based violence because of the consequences of COVID. And then those who go out to look for food, it is still women who go out. Now you're going out and places have been closed. I must say that gender-based violence increased. Women would go out and you come home and you'll find that there were increased cases of incest.
Wow.
Yes. Those are some of the things we saw at the State Department when it came to the consequences of COVID, because people were closed in an area. And it's like, how would I say, the children of Israel, when they reached Mount Sinai and Moses delayed for a long, long time, they decided to, now we better start our own world around
Exactly.
here. Yeah, that might have happened because now people were not going back, they were not continuing on their journey. They have been told stay here. So, but I wouldn't want to comment on the second part of your question, where you're saying, as a country, where do we stand now? What do you think we are doing? It is a continuous process, and unless we allocate enough resources on matters gender, and in this case, it's not just ladies or girls, even the boy child.
Yes.
Yeah. Unless we address the software of our country, so much, we are losing so much, because we are just focusing on the outside, on what is seen, while inside we are not seeing. You've just seen that also in our ministry by that time. The bill on mental health also came.
Yes, it
And
came
mental
out.
health has increased as a country, because we're not getting enough time for people. How I wish that we had even staggered reporting times for work, so that women can say, those who are still having young families can work for some given hours during the day, then they are home, so that we spend time with our children. Otherwise, we are all just running to make ends meet, and no time is paid to the family. And that time which parents need to spend with the family has been replaced with the phone. And so they're learning so much on the phone. No wonder we have an increase in online child sexual exploitation and abuse, because then people easily access our children through the gadgets that we have in our houses, in our homes. Yeah, and because you want to provide for them, you don't have much time to come and see what they are going through and sit with them. Yeah. Which for that, to me, I'm grateful that at least my children grew up before the phones were there, because I was a telephone mother. I wasn't available that much, although their father was there for them to ensure they do homework, to ensure that he drops them to school. And it's quite important. But now, how many of us at the moment are able to say, you're dropping the children to school, then from there, you go to work with the traffic jam that we have in Nairobi. So you see, we really have to re-engineer new ways of
working,
working as a country, so that we can still grow, help our children grow with our values as a country, right now you hear now this the debate, the current debate. So you find it's because we are not spending enough time with our
With our
families.
families,
Yeah, yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah.
And I think, basically looking at best practices or how other countries have re-engineered work around
Yeah,
them, it will be able to help, both parents to be able to spend sufficient time
yeah.
with their children.
Mm.
Yes, an 8 to 5 is good, but sometimes I think we need to take it as a point of as the case is, rather than as the case you want it to be.
Yes,
The truth of the matter, I think flexible working hours would actually work,
yes,
whether for the mother or for the father, to
yes,
ensure that these kids have a presence of their parents,
yes, yeah,
at
yeah.
home.
Mm.
And I think it's really nice that you started the conversation at the ministry. It is something that people really did not talk about until COVID came, actually, which
Yeah.
forced people to stay at home.
And another conversation which was there, right now I don't know how it goes, but unpaid caregivers. Women are majority of the unpaid caregiver, and so how do we pay them? Instead of just saying, you know, that's duty ordinary, but we should be paid. When somebody falls sick, it's the woman who stays behind to look after that person who is sick. Somebody with disability, it's a woman who will take care 24/7 that sick person. So, well, we pray that, I'm sure, because we still have the civil servants who were there giving us this technical support, they will still continue. Because really, government has no end.
Yes, it
It
has no end.
continues.
Yes.
So those are things I pray can continue on that side. But on my part, I will still continue with my campaign against FGM. Whenever I get the opportunity, I'll still say female genital mutilation should now be in the annals of history in our country.
Yes.
Girls and women should be given the opportunity to be complete the way they are.
And not also to have, expectations, put upon them.
Yeah. Yeah. And also, there's a campaign that is on child marriage in Africa. We have the AU that by 2030 there should be no more. But for Kenya, we had said by 2026. So we still have time to work on it.
Yes.
And these are things that the space that I have, when I have a platform, I will be working on it. And that is what I will work on FGM continuously, ending child marriage continuously, and just encourage the young girls, upcoming girls, that you can do it. You don't have to know somebody. Just have a conversation, a board meeting with yourself. Decide that which you want. The government and our laws have given you an enabling environment, because we talk of equality, even the gender 2/3. People don't elect you because you're a woman.
Yes.
They elect you because they believe in your agenda. Yeah, what is it that you want? So, and as I told you that I came even in the opposition. The 2 terms that I got elected was in the opposition. But now, what is it that people see you? You market yourself. So I really believe that going forward, young girls, young women like yourself, draw a mental picture of where you want to go, what you want to be, and with the help of God, walk towards that. When you find a door has been closed, look for a Judas window, please.
And jump through.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Or if there is no opportunity, then build a door so that opportunity can knock. And how do you build a door? You prepare yourself.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the kind of doors you're building.
So
Then
work on
opportunity
yourself
knocks.
constantly. And
Yes.
find, that you're ready for anything.
Yes.
Be ready to go.
Yeah.
And I like, the fact that you were courageous enough to speak about issues of FGM and early childhood marriages, because right now the girls know their rights. They know this is wrong and you cannot force me. I read the newspaper, I think 2 days ago, where they were saying the girls walked more than 30 kilometers to escape early childhood marriage.
Yes. Yeah.
This
True.
is something they would not have done if they
Yeah.
did not have the information
Yeah.
at their fingertips. And I commend you, you know, throughout your entire
Yes.
leadership history
Ah,
for dealing with issues that were otherwise taboo.
yeah.
So,
But you see, it's a process.
mm-hmm,
Now, those of you as young as you are, you need to stand on our shoulders and
mm-hmm,
continue. I stood in the shoulders of Zipporah and Tabitha.
mm-hmm,
Now, if you people stand on our shoulders, I mean, the law is there now.
yes,
You just need to
mm-hmm,
stand on your principles.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, know
mm-hmm,
that what you want,
mm-hmm,
so that you're not driven just, you're
mm-hmm,
not tossed about
yes,
like the waves of
yes,
the sea.
yes,
Remember, I wanted a place. I wanted to be in a place called Nairobi. I
mm-hmm,
wanted to drive a
a
big
big
car.
car,
Yeah,
mm-hmm,
and I was a class 4 kid. Now, right now,
right
surely,
now, yes,
that was just a teacher talking to me.
mm-hmm,
Now we have the media.
mm-hmm,
There are so many.
mm-hmm,
And so my word would be those who have stories to sell,
mm-hmm,
that is, those who are educated, you have some information,
mm-hmm,
please just go back to these schools and talk,
yes,
just to share.
mm-hmm.
That will be seed you're planting.
Give someone a dream, basically.
Cause them to dream.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, by
mm-hmm.
what you tell them.
I love that. I
Yeah,
really like that.
yeah.
I want to circle back, you know, to the fact that you're a very stalwart peace negotiator.
Mm-hmm.
During your term as member of parliament, for 10 years, there was peace
Yes.
in the valley.
Yeah.
Right now, as we look at the outlook of the world, we have war in Ukraine. Close to home in Africa, you know, we have countries which have, you know, infighting and violence within their borders. And right now, basically, in the North Rift, banditry has come up again.
Yeah.
You have an organization of women,
Yeah.
you know, determined to keep peace.
Potuma.
Yes, Potuma.
Mm-hmm.
What is the role of women in peacekeeping? And how important is it for them to be involved in the process?
You know, early warning signs
Mm-hmm,
can be given by women.
mm-hmm,
Informers, the best informers are women.
mm-hmm,
Why? Because in their homes they'd have been told to prepare, I'm going for a journey.
mm-hmm,
Yeah, and you can just see in your house that this is a man preparing to go somewhere.
mm-hmm,
Why don't you inform?
mm-hmm,
So, and that is why, as Potuma, I really hope that when they are discussing peace, and that is why I went for that training, because I want to empower the Potuma women. I can only give them information, being one of them, that God has plucked me from amongst them to bring me to a table where I can access, or to an environment where I can access information, then I should pass on to them. That they know that they bear
the responsibility.
the responsibilities of the family, to sustain the family, and also the consequences. They bear the biggest brunt of the consequences of insecurity. And so their role is very critical. How only I wish when they are discussing peace, they would have women on the table and ask, what is peace in the eyes of a woman? What is insecurity in the mind of a woman? Can they describe what is insecurity? A woman would describe separately, differently from a man. Because for a man, insecurity is, I will answer it back. I remember in my campaign, and I did tell you that they said, as a woman, will you be able to fight?
Yeah.
But a woman would say, oh, when I see fire burning, I will reduce the
fire.
And a man will say, dawa ya moto ni
Moto.
Yeah.
Very true, by the way. That is very true.
Yeah, so my sincere prayer is that they will take into consideration their perception of women from this region. And that is why we call ourselves Potuma Women Peace Network. I am sure if a woman was asked what is peace, she will tell you the absence of guns, whether for looking after animals or for protecting ourselves. A woman might tell you that one. A woman might tell you, come, I have an evildoer here, go and preach the gospel to him, he may change. take him to committee and train him, he will change. A man will say, get rid of this evildoer.
Exactly.
Yes, I don't want to see him. That would be in the eyes of a woman. But so from where I sit currently, I can only pray that God gives wisdom to the current government to also get to understand the feelings of the women in the North Rift and what they feel. We really want peace in that region. Because at the end of the day, women in these pastoralist communities are the ones who fend for the family. There's insecurity, and we go to the marketplaces. That is where we get our food, but that is where we can also find information. We can exchange information.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think
so that is a big role for women, because they are the ones going to the market and buying from the other one.
And you'll find they're not enemies, despite their particular communities. So they talk frequently.
Yeah, so the role is critical. The role of women in peace is very important. Yeah.
And you know, Honorable Jebii, throughout your years in leadership, I'm pretty sure there's some things you've learned that you can even put in a book, you know, to inspire the rest of the women, both women your age and also who have come after you, and the girls now who are below us. What are the values that you've learned, you know, count towards success, you know, in your life right now?
Being focused on what you want to do. Being accountable for your actions, and asking yourself, what will be remembered of me or the person who sat in that seat? When you leave, what will be remembered of you? And how can I be a bridge for others? I used to tell my constituents, I just want to be that straw which they can use to drink, or that bridge which they can cross over to a better life, a better land, and they don't need to come back through that bridge again. Yeah, so that I wanted to serve my purpose, for which I believe is a service to humanity, is what we were born for, and all these other things will follow you. It is not easy being in leadership, because you have to read, you have to know what is happening in the environment, because people ask you for direction. Yeah. It's like you're standing at a crossroads, and all the time people are coming. When they reach the crossroads, which direction are you pointing them? Yeah. So you want to be a good crossroad, where you're pointing to the
right
direction
and
for
you know,
people.
the most beneficial direction for them.
Yeah. Yes. So you have to understand, you have to read. Yeah, you have to know what is happening. When somebody is asking you, I want my child to join this, you know, they don't want to read. It's you to tell them. Yeah. So are you telling them something that is beneficial to them, or that will destroy them? So it meant also just getting informed all the time of what is happening, so that you're on top of things at your fingertips. Somebody is calling you, umeshawaeleza. Yeah. And you cannot do this alone. You have to also know where to get this information from. So you have to build a network of people whom you can call on. Yeah.
I think that is really beautifully said. What advice would you give to the children now who are coming up in terms of, you know, living a life with integrity and excellence?
Okay, before answering that, I would like to just say how grateful I am that my mother is still around with me. My mother is illiterate, but she talks quite a lot on how to live a life of generosity, how to treat other people. My mother will tell you, if a cat comes to your door or even a dog, just feed. You don't know why it came over there. And she would say that believe in the ability that God has given you, hands that you can work with, that you can think with. And I know that life can be quite challenging now, especially when you don't know what choices to make, what careers you want to make. You've made all those right choices, but now to even access that job is a problem. The current world is about a give and take.
Yes.
Yeah. So to that point, I would only say, even as we've passed such, but once you know what you want, be focused. What is the mental picture of yourself? Draw a mental picture of where you want to go, what you want to achieve, and those other things which come along the way will be like hurdles along your way. And if you find a hurdle along the way, and this hurdle will make you fall, negotiate it. Yeah? Or just turn back and look for another way out, so that you can hold your integrity, stand on your principles. Yeah. And standing on your principles, doing the right thing. Birth is expensive.
Yes.
At times you have to walk alone. Yeah. It's a lonely path. Yes. Even as much as I have many people that say they're friends or mentored many, but when I sit to do my board meeting, I find I am alone.
Wow.
And of course, when you are at the board meeting, you are the secretary to that, so you write it down. You are the chief executive officer. You are the one to implement what you wrote down. And having a belief that there is a superior being, whether you're a Muslim, so you believe there is God, even if you're a Hindu or you're a Christian, like I am, I know that there is another superpower than myself to whom I can call for support. But you must know that which you want in your life. It is difficult, but as long as you have your hands, nothing will be. Find something to do with your hands. I lost election when I did not make it to Parliament in 1997. I sat down and I remember the story of Moses when God told him, what is it that you have in your hands? And he said, I just have this rod. And it's like I said, what do I have in my hands? I have my hands, so I can make hair. I started making hair.
Wow.
And in 6 months, I had opened a second salon.
Wow.
Yeah, because I said, yeah, I can do this with my hands. So ladies, you don't have to compromise your security. There are so many ways that people say getting to the top, but please get to the top with your head high.
Wow.
Holding your integrity,
I love that.
believing that you with God, there's nothing impossible that the two of you can do. However, you must have that board meeting with him as the silent listener and say, this is the direction that I want to. And slowly by slowly build, these riches will come.
Yes.
There's something that I did tell the CEO of the anti-FGM board, which I'm grateful that after getting the law, in 2014, the president, the district president gave me the opportunity to start the anti-FGM board. So we now have a parastatal whose aim is just to coordinate the campaigns against female genital mutilation. And there was little funding by that time. And I told her, just keep on moving. Resources will follow you. The environment will conspire to also work with you. And so I would say this again to those, the young girls or those coming after us. You will stand on our shoulders and feel there isn't much, but providence will follow you. And it doesn't have to come in as a flood. It will come as showers of blessings, slowly by slowly. Learn contentment. Just say that, yes, today we are not able to put meat on the table, so we will take maybe with sukuma wiki or something. Or what my mother will tell me, that when you have nothing, just mix water and salt, and it will still eat ugali. Or get a ripe banana and you eat with ugali, you will still go. And tomorrow, it will never be the same like today. Yeah. So you don't have to get compromised, just slowly by slowly, be contented. You know, when you have 100,000, it is enough for your wants. You have 1,000, it is still enough for your wants for that day. So just planning to on what you have. And this education doesn't have to necessarily education to get us employment. It's education to help us know how to make 1 shilling to become 2 shillings, and that how to grow our wealth, and you can grow. It would be interesting if I told people that our first plot in Eldoret, and it's still what we call our home, you know, I used to sell omena. Yeah. Over the weekend, I would go to Kisumu, and I had a friend in Kisumu who would ensure that we get the omena, and I would supply. I come back at night on Sunday. Monday, I'm on duty.
Wow.
And my husband would stay with the children over the weekend to do that. Or like I would drive the whole night from Nakuru to Eldoret Club just or Sirikwa Hotel to deliver chicken. Yeah. Which I've bought from another lady who keeps to be able to come. So you grow slowly. Yeah. So we build our first house, the servants' quarter, slowly by slowly, until you have your own house like that. Yeah. Which is so unfortunate because sometimes I look and see somebody's driving another car, and then everybody wants to drive. Please, when you see me driving as a big car, Beth, I did not just get it now.
Now.
Hey. It took time. Yes. Yeah. That even on Sunday, Saturday, I would go and sell maize and cabbages in a place called Radat in Waringo, living in Nakuru. You drive, you go and sell. And you build slowly by slowly. We are not all the same. There are others who will just get pop. That is okay. That is how God has signed for them. But if you find yourself on this other side, then build yours slowly by slowly.
So hard work really pays.
Yeah, it does pay. It does pay. I mean, yes, it does pay.
Wow.
That you can look back, and we have enough resources in our country, enough all of us. You have the opportunity to join, to take loan. Yeah. For me to start another business, I took what, I said the first sofa sets that I bought was when I was working as a role model for World Vision, and worked with the Catholic Diocese of Eldoret on just talking to women who are brewing changa to stop and start selling clothes in West Eldoret. And you'll be paid 2,000, 5,000, and you say, I wasn't complaining if I wasn't sitting in a sofa like this. No, just say, this is mine. So I think contentment, of course, is also key, and believing that, yes, you will reach there. Yeah.
What does the future look like for you?
God holds my future. Really, I look to a future where I will age gracefully.
Wow.
And still be of service to humanity. Right now, I registered an NGO, which I may not run it fully, but I would want so that others can use that. And even the Potuma I've told you about, I don't run it, but I'm their patron, and I come across somebody like you, and I have the needs of Potuma in my handbag. When I see you, I'll say, this one might have an answer to what we need as Potuma, then I will talk to you. So my future is using the networks that I have had to benefit the communities that I am called after. And that is the communities in the North Rift, and eventually the community of women.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
we are a community as women. Yeah.
I find, the wisdom really touching, because like you said, hard work pays. Roll up your sleeves.
Yes, yeah.
And use what you have and be content. And I really thank you, because telling your story is basically going to help so many women and girls to realize it's not all doom, despite the circumstances we are in. Thank you so much, Honorable Jebii. I can't wait to see what you do in the future. I'm pretty sure it's going to be as fantastic as what you've done in the past.